Recently, I was presenting at the Iowa One-to-One conference talking about making learning accessible for all. And at one point, I talked about, how we have different tools to help us help different students who have different obstacles to their learning. And one of those that I think is really, it's hard to understand in a lot of cases is color blindness, because I think it's easier. I'm hard of hearing. I think it's easier for people to understand that because there are instances where people lose their hearing for a little bit. But yeah, a lot of people don't understand, what does a colorblind person see when they're looking at something. And I realized that I didn't really take the time to make sure all my slides were going to be very usable by somebody who was colorblind. So there are a couple different tools we can use here. So I'm going to go over those. A couple of them are Chrome extensions. So like the first one is called Chrome Daltonize. And one thing that this tool can do is it can show you what somebody who is colorblind would see. It can simulate for you. So I'm going to go to this website here, which talks about color blindness. So it talks about red-green color blindness. I'm going to go to my Chrome Daltonize Chrome extension. I'm going to right-click it to get the options. And so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select Simulate. I'm going to select the middle option for my red-green color blindness. I'm going to run a page load. So those are my options. I can then now go back to this website. If you look at these color scales here, again, this is showing you the difference between what somebody normally sees, what they see if they have this condition. And if I click refresh, it's going to now simulate for me, give it a second, what somebody who is colorblind would see in that case. There are different forms of colorblind, so you can try this with all different ones. Now this works really well for websites, but the problem is that if I go to my slide deck, it's not going to work really well with that because of what web page this is. And so I have to use a different way to look at this. So if I go to a website, so here is a website we can go to called Colorblindness. I can actually use this simulator to see what those slides are going to look like. So I'm going to go back to my slide deck here. I'm going to look for a slide that has a lot of colors in it. So here's one right now. I'm going to go up to File, Download as, JPEG. So I'm only going to do this for what pages that have a lot of different colors and where I think that somebody who has trouble telling the difference between those colors will have some issues. I go back here and then I'm going to click Choose File. I've kind of already done this, but I'm going to do it again. So I select my file, we hit Enter. And you can see the file loads right down here. Right now it's showing normal view. But now I can go through and click these options and it will adjust it based on the different forms of color blindness. And I can see if any of these cause an issue. So none of these cause a major issue. A little bit hard to see the FET symbol. But if I go to some other ones, again, nothing big. Of course, if I go to the monochromatic view, which pretty much just is grayscale, I'll even be able to see what that looks like too. So this is a great website. Again, I'll put a link under to this, but it's Colorblindness, color-blindness.com. And it allows me to simulate that for those web pages where I can't just run something like the Chrome Daltonizer tool. Now, again, if you do have somebody who is colorblind, one of the best tools you can give them probably is the Color Enhancer tool, because what this can do then is it can tell you that it'll adjust the website to show you the differences in colors to somebody who is colorblind. To kind of give you an example of this, first off, I'm going to go to my Extensify Chrome extension, which allows me to turn off my Chrome Daltonize, so I'm not simulating color blindness anymore. I'm actually going to go back to my slide deck. At one point, I have a nice slide in here showing a Rubik's Cube. So I can actually go to the Color Enhancer tool. I can click Enable. I'm going to go Setup, and I can select the different ones here. But if I adjust the slider, you'll notice that the colors are changing of that Rubik's Cube. Again, if I'm somebody who's colorblind and I can't tell the difference between two colors, this is going to allow me, as I adjust this, it's going to adjust the colors so now I can tell the difference between them. So again, it helps people of different types of color blindness, different severity of color blindness, to be able to adjust things on a website so they can better tell the difference between them. So if you're using a lot of charts, a lot of graphics, and you have somebody who's colorblind, this Chrome extension, again, which is called Color Enhancer, will allow them to easily change that. So links to all the Chrome extensions will be in the blog post associated with this video. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. But otherwise, if you do have a student who's colorblind, give them these tools. Help them learn as best as they can.